Welcome to HIMSS TV. My name's Dylan Yogendra. I'm the managing editor at HIMSS EMEA. Today I'm delighted to have with me Dr. Stephen Mattarelli, Senior Clinical Executive at Vocera Communications. Dr. Mattarelli, I wonder if you can give us a quick update and an intro to your role, please.
I certainly can, and thank you for the invitation today, and hello from Dubai. So as you said, I'm Stephen Mattarelli. I'm a Senior Clinical Executive with Vocera Communications. I serve in the role in the Middle East and the United Kingdom both. Vocera is a US-based company. I've been a registered nurse for 35 years, practicing clinically as faculty, and I've made my career through various C-suite positions as well, and now I work for Vocera.
Fantastic. So if we dive straight into it, with the COVID-19 pandemic, I think we're all in agreement that healthcare systems are finding themselves under immense pressure. And so I wonder, when it comes to the use of digital technology, how advanced do you think the healthcare sector is?
Well, as I said, I've been a nurse for a very long time. So we certainly have always had infections that we have dealt with. So the pandemic has certainly shown us some weaknesses. It's shown us some areas of resilience, certainly in our personnel. So one of the keys that we found quickly with this current COVID pandemic was the ability to have to move more swiftly. So for example, collaborative caregiver communication has always been an important aspect of patient safety. We often have relied on telephones and pagers and smartphones. These are great tools, but they're really all disconnected from each other. So really what suddenly happened now with this COVID that we found with Vocera was the need to immediately be able to connect caregivers in a safe and secure space, both with voice and with the ability to securely text. Many organizations, and I've heard this myself in my role, many organizations say that, well, we have caregiver communication, we have an electronic medical record, and that's how we communicate. At Vocera, we differentiate that. An electronic medical record is a clinical documentation tool, which certainly helps to communicate, but it's not the vehicle for communication. We view that as one part of a pillar. One part of a platform of communication, meaning electronic medical records, the ability to speak to each other, secure texting, those would be grouped together, and then the movement of alarms and alerts. So it really is a four-legged stool that comes together to how we define collaborative communication.
Fantastic. And I think just to drill down in a bit deeper into some of what you've just raised there, Dr. Mattarelli, can you tell us a little bit more about what the key considerations should be when you're putting together a digital strategy plan, please?
It needs to be something that is interoperable. It needs to be something that's scalable. Dollars are precious these days, so I think in any piece of the decision along any type of technology advancement is how can this piece of technology interact with other technology? When we view that, that gives us the opportunity to look at the value of the entire spend, right? So if I have installed or am installing some sort of patient monitoring system, a cardiac monitoring system, part of that discussion needs to be, what can that monitor connect to? That monitor is going to deliver alarms and alerts, but if those alarms and alerts are in a room, then we've got a great monitor, but without the delivery of what the monitor is there to do, and that's to alert staff to patients who are deteriorating or patients that are in crisis. So from our perspective at Vocera, and my perspective specifically as a nurse, we always need to look at how these things are interoperable and then how we can build on that interoperability.
Excellent, fascinating stuff. And just to move on and actually zoom out to a certain degree, I wonder if you can touch on how Vocera are actually supporting the sector in terms of preparing for challenges of the future.
Absolutely. Well, there's nothing like the past and nothing like the present, right, to help us predict the future. So with the COVID pandemic, we have seen a lot of clients around the world. We have over 1,900 installations of the Vocera system around the world. And what we came to realize were those customers who had Vocera installed have set praises that they were prepared, that they were able to communicate under PPE, they were able to communicate in intense environments, they were able to quickly and efficiently, with agile planning, change their call flows. We also had a group of customers who became customers. We had hospitals, I should say, that became customers, that came to us realizing that their reliance on a walkie-talkie or their reliance on personal mobile phones or their reliance on a beeper was not going to be efficient care. It increased the staff members' risk of cross-contamination because all of those items that I just talked about require manipulation of the item, right? I could talk to you or call you on your mobile phone, but if you are dressed underneath personal protective equipment, the only way to properly answer that telephone is to take that equipment off, or at least portions of that equipment off. So not only have we wasted equipment because that equipment, that personal protective gear was meant for a different reason other than communication, but in the process of taking that equipment off, we run the risk of contaminating ourselves. So these are two of the main areas that we have seen customers pivot. Now, the past predicts the future, right? So this is the pandemic we're under now, but it certainly is not the last pandemic we're going to face. So my hope is, and Vocera's hope from a wider platform is, that this certainly opens the conversation to individuals going back and looking at their comms strategy, appropriating money appropriately, making wise decisions, and ensuring that each and every purchase is interoperable, connectable, and scalable so that they really are maximizing that return on investment.
Excellent. I think there's some real key words that have come out of what you've just mentioned. It's great to see how you're helping your customers adjust and adapt to this current climate. I wonder, moving on, Dr. Mattarelli, if you can talk a little bit about the patient experience and patient care, and in particular how that fits into your overall digital strategy, please.
So the foundation of Vocera is collaborative caregiver communication. We do that by using very lightweight wearable badges. We have two styles of those badges. One incorporates the ability to securely text. We also have phone applications. From the beginning, Vocera has felt that the digital environment needs to be agnostic. What do I mean by that? So I'm a lover of all things Apple. Other people are all lovers of all things Android. So in order to be successful for organizations and to move beyond implementation to actually caregiver adoption, we needed to ensure that how we brought our product up was versatile to use across multiple platforms. Then we've got the wearable devices that keep caregivers mobile. I can have that mobile phone in my pocket, but as I just described, it's not very useful to me when I really cannot safely reach my pocket. So how do we do that? We put a wearable device on a person. Our smart badge, our Vocera smart badge, actually responds to a wake word. We can say, "Okay, Vocera," which brings the genie to life. Genie is our voice command engine. It brings the genie to life. And now with the power of my voice, I can call a colleague by their name. I can call a colleague by their role. I can broadcast and urgently broadcast to a group. And I can call a location in my organization by having that telephone extension rostered into the master directory. So now we've brought those foundations of communication directly to myself. So I could be right now in COVID, I could be in all of this kit, and I'm inside a patient room, and I can keep mobile. I don't have to leave that room. I can communicate to my colleagues outside of that room by calling their name. I may need a role. So if I need the physiotherapist or the respiratory therapist, I can call by role. If I need an emergency situation, a code blue, a medical response team, I can call by that urgent broadcast. One of the most clever things that we have seen with our clients is they quickly put together teams related to COVID response. So we found organizations that were building testing tents or triage tents before the patient got into their hospital. When they found a patient highly suspicious based on clinical history, and for those organizations doing rapid testing who actually found a positive COVID, directly from that site of patient care, they could broadcast that to a team, which then started to mobilize individuals, mobilize walking corridors. So mobilized individuals and got people out of the way so that a patient could be walked through a corridor safely into an appropriate isolation. The amazing thing is programming can be complex in some things. One of the amazing things about Vocera is its simplicity in programming. Those workflows can be sorted out by a team through whatever quality process they're using. The platform can be opened up, those call flows changed, those call flows saved, the program closed, and instantaneously those call flows are ready to go. So we were able to do that highly effectively for many of our clients around the world in a matter of a few days for some of them. In a matter of a few hours, for some of them, entire call flows needed to be changed and were changed.
That's brilliant. And thank you so much for your insights, Dr. Mattarelli.
Terrific. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you today.